أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. Brothers and sisters, we live in a time with a lot of fitna, as we know, and the fitna is primarily produced by different ideologies that we're bombarded with, and ideologies that our children are being taught in schools, in universities, in ideologies that we are bombarded with, even adults, through media, advertisements. And one of these ideologies that are very subtly put forth to us, right, we don't notice that we're being told this, is the idea that today, 2023, and this era is the best era, that this modern society that we've created as humans is the pinnacle of human society, right? We live, right, they try to tell us that today was better than any time that we've had in the history of humans, right? Today, right now, that we live in such a modern, technologically advanced society. And this is portrayed through us through our advertisements. When we buy certain products, we'll be happy. And it's portrayed to us in schools, right? When every time they teach us history, the history is taught as everything in the past was backwards. The 1900s, 1800s, so on and so forth was backwards, and everybody was plagued with illnesses, and there was murder, and there was no police, and there was no technology, and everything was. And today, somehow we figured all of that out in this time in 2023. All of those, everything that was plaguing us before, we figured it all out through our medicine and through our knowledge and brain power. So since we live in such a modern and advanced time, as technology moves and science moves, so do ideas and morals, right, and spiritualism. Since the past was so backwards, and the past was primarily, most people were religious, either through Christianity or as Muslims, since that was all backwards, and everybody was living in such a horrible, time, as we move on to our modern society, so do religion has to move on also. And this has been a concept, for a long time, right? That as time passes, we have to let go of our old ideas and traditional values and move on to modern ones. And I'll continue just to lay a basis and understand more about these modern, modernity, how we live today. That, yes, on one hand they portray it as perfect, but on the other hand, we forget everything evil that's come out of it. The idea of quantity versus quality, right? Alhamdulillah, we're still thankful that in our grocery type of food from every single country, right? In the West, we can choose anything we want to. Other places, and obviously in the past, they were not privileged enough to have this luxury. We have so much fast food and food available to us that we can literally choose every single meal, every single day for the entire year. You can plan out your entire year and eat something different. And with that, obviously we lose the quality, and we lose the health, and we become so, right, some people are obesity. We become unhealthy. So on one hand, yes, we have every single type of food available to us through mass production. On the other hand, we've lost all of our values of health. We've lost the idea of what we're eating food for. Right? Food is no longer for nourishment, as Islam teaches us, but food is just, you eat food, you live to eat food. Different types of food. The Prophet ﷺ has taught us, when it comes to food, just like anything else, any other vice, right? Food can be a fitna too. And a perfect example is now. That food should be consumed just enough to keep yourself upright, to make sure that you can go through the day, and that's how much food you should be eating. And if you want to eat more than that, then split your stomach into thirds and, eat 1/3, drink 1/3, and leave 1/3. But society pushes, right, through all of the propaganda of the media that food should be consumed in large. Another example of buying. Right? We're being made by corporations and the government to just think of ourselves, again, very subtly, nobody says this to you right in your face, very subtly that you are nothing more than a consumer and a buyer, a consumer and a producer. So your life is just working your 9 to 5, or whatever hours you work, and you make money for your store or your society, and then you use that money and you spend it in a store. So your life is just buying and spending. Obviously, we know in Islam, human beings are more than just producers, and, consumers and producers. Our lives are more meaningful than just working and buying. That's right. That's all the West puts out for us. But we know that our life is more meaningful. It has a deeper sensibility than just going to stores, buying, and then working for what you're buying. And you repeat, and then you die. When it comes to calamities, right, modern society tells us that back then they had all of these diseases and plagues. And we still have them today, but we have them even worse so, because we, with everything we produce, and through all the clothes and food that we produce, are creating a globe, the earth, where we can't even live in it. Right? We're creating an earth through all the pollution that in maybe 100 years, we're not going to be able to live on this planet the way we are living today. And this is all through modernism. Getting down to a smaller scale, modernism, again, very subtly, teaches us these strong concepts of individualism. Right? We don't realize that we think like this, but very subtly, that the most important thing in your life is yourself. So what this does is it breaks down interpersonal relationships. When a person in society believes that they should put themselves first, right, kids will not respect their parents. Because in Islam, we know that as a child, or as long as you have parents, as long as your parents are living, your parents come before you. Your parents are supposed to be above yourself, right? The religion, Allah, and then your parents, and then yourself. But when they're taught that all that matters is their life and their endeavors and their future and their careers, the respect for the parents is diminished. And we see in Western society, again, something we don't see in the past is children move, to a different country, hundreds of miles away from their parents. Nothing wrong with that per se, but it's the mass movement of families leaving each other. Same thing with siblings. Islam teaches us that siblings should have a strong bond of respect, of love, right? They're your blood siblings. But again, we never saw this in the past, but we see this in our modern society, that siblings will live far away from each other. And that's not haram or anything, but it's taking away from the family. So everybody's just worried about themselves, and nobody worries about the family. And of course, we see the same issue with husband and wives. When there's no compromise, because they only want what's best for themselves, the husband wants what he wants, and the wife wants what she wants, it'll only lead to divorce, because there's no compromise. It's either this way, or it's either that way. And I have to have it my way, because society teaches me that the most important thing is myself, and I have to make myself happy. The problems that our modern society puts forth, right, are much more than the problems that it solved. But one of the main issues with putting forth all these problems is when it's showed to us, it showed that it has all the answers. So our children are taught that leave religion, leave morality, forget God, because we have better explanations of the world, or we have science to explain to us how we came here. So leave morality and move to our modern ideas. The simple question that Muslims should confidently answer with this, and confidently ask, your coworkers and the rest of the society, is that if modernity gives us all of these luxuries and all of these solutions, then why is everyone in the West depressed? I can go through so many statistics of individuals, the good part of society, being severely depressed. Statistics about drug abuse, not hard drugs, just simple antidepressants. The majority, not the majority, but a huge population of the West is on antidepressants. Because when you leave morality, and you leave Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're left with space in your heart. When you treat yourself, you treat your body as just your body, just something to clothe and something to feed, and you forget and neglect the soul, it leaves a hole. I have depression statistics and suicide, but it's depressing to even talk about the number of people. But I'll put it this way, the number of people that die from suicide is almost triple the number that die from homicide. And again, when they teach this to us, it makes it seem that in the past, people used to be killed because there's no police and everything was bad. But in reality, there are more people dying nowadays through self-harm than people are dying from hurting each other. To conclude, and we can go on so much more about this, but alhamdulillah, Islam has the answers to the modern problems. Islam has elevated each of us more than just ourselves and our bodies. Islam doesn't treat us as just numbers, consumers and producers and buyers. It doesn't care about any of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't care about any of that. When each of us are born, we know that some of us are born into wealth, and some into poverty, some in a third world country, and some in a first world country. And we look at that and we think that there's unequalness. And some will, astaghfirullah, question, how is that fair? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it so fair that anybody, any Muslim, has the ability to reach the same Jannatul Firdaus. Right? The person who's born in America can reach Jannah just the way the person born in Bangladesh can. There's no difference in that. There's no difference if you were born a female or a male, or your skin color. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has completely leveled the playing field, so as that every single Muslim has the same and equal opportunity to reach the highest level of Jannah. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't put in Jannah that if you donate $1 million, you made it. Or you prayed this X amount of time. He didn't put requirements on Jannah. He just told us how we can get there. But there are no set requirements to making Jannah, right? In today's time, the Prophet ﷺ told us that the later ummah, which is, we're part of the later ummah, will face tests that the older generations did not face. And I just went over those tests, right? The ideological different tests. And he gave us a solution, a partial solution, in this one hadith. Prophet ﷺ told us that when you're in these times and you want to live and die as a Muslim, number one, build your iman, right? Build your belief in Allah. Be firm in that. That's number one. Each individual, if they're not firm in that, and that goes beyond just saying, oh, I believe in the Shahada. When non-Muslims ask you about something like the Sharia, your coworker, your classmate, they might ask you, they see something in the news and ask you, oh, do you believe in the Sharia? I heard that if you steal something, your hand gets cut off. And are you shaky in answering this person? We know as Muslims, absolutely, we believe in the Sharia. There's no question or doubt about it. And if you're hesitant in believing in this, it's coming from two places. Number one, you don't understand the Sharia, right? You think, like how they taught you to think, that it's barbaric, and once again, the Western and modern judicial system is the perfect one. So number one, you have a misunderstanding of what the Sharia is. Number two, you have fallen into their ideas. And alhamdulillah, living in America, maybe more than a Muslim country, you can say this with full confidence of no repercussions. You can say that you believe in the Sharia. And you can say this, and you should say this, with full confidence that you are spreading the truth. Right? When they put forth their modern substitutions, right? If they're talking about stealing, and they say, well, it's better if the person stays 20 years in jail, the simple answer, and what you should believe and know, is that you have the answer from a divine source. You have literally got the answer from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of all things. Their answers are from themselves, from human beings thinking. We have answers directly from the Lord who created us. So, by building your iman, have confidence in your faith. Your iman has major weaknesses if you're confused about this, or you're confused that you believe in Allah but you don't believe in His rules. You're confused about it. And many of us are, and that's not a problem. But we must know that at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us answers and rules, and that is the last and objective truth. And anything that they believe is the truth is coming out of their own minds. When it comes to our children, we know that 1 in 4 Muslim children raised in the West will leave Islam. And I think the number is much higher for other religions, Christianity and Judaism. But 1 in 4 Muslims raised in the West will leave Islam. So 1 in 4 kids here, statistically, will not be Muslim in a couple of years. And that's extremely sad to think about. The last thing I'll end with is, you know that no one can control your actions or your heart except yourself. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges you on the Day of Judgment, He will not ask you about anyone but yourself. He will only ask you about yourself. So when it comes to your kids or yourself and building their iman and making sure that the future generations are Muslims, simply ask yourself, what are you doing for that? Have you done anything to make sure your kids are Muslim, to make sure that they don't fall into that statistic? What are you going to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if your child leaves Islam because he has taken modernity over Islam? Because when you leave Islam and you leave Allah and you leave it for atheism, you're simply replacing your religion for something else. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us prepare an answer for Him when asked about the future generations. When it comes to community, that we talk about the family, the community, of course, is involved in making sure that future generations stay Muslim. And as part of the community, it's easy for us to criticize leadership or other people. But again, what have you done? Leadership will have their questions, but you will also be questioned in the same way. Have you done anything for the community? Have you done anything for the future? Once again, that is a question that inshallah you can ask yourself and find the answer to. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, please make dua for Brother Ashraf Mustafa's mother passed away. May Allah give her Jannah and forgive her. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين أجمعين. عباد الله, إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واتقوه ويجعل لكم من أمركم مخرجا. Before we pray, please come forward. There's a lot of others in the hallway. Welcome to Salam.